So I thought today I'd make a little tutorial on how to make a puppet. This puppet will be a bit smaller and simpler than the ones you've seen in my videos because I only have a few hours to make it, but it's the same general process used to make the others. First, I'm tracing a pattern I drew based on one I found online. You can experiment with how you draw the pattern to affect how the face of your puppet turns out. You can make the lines longer or shorter, the gaps bigger or smaller. I'm tracing it onto foam I bought at Joann's Fabrics. Then I'm going to trace it again and glue the two pieces together. I'm using a hot glue gun to glue the seams together, but you could use spray-on adhesive or even sew the seams together. After you've glued them all, your puppet head should look something like this. I generally like to just wing it when making things. Here I folded in half some cardboard and put it where the puppet's mouth should be. Now I'm tracing it and cutting it out to make a rough mouth that I can trim to make sure it fits onto my puppet. The next step is to cover up the cardboard with some felt or fleece. Normally I'd use black felt, but I don't have any right now, so I thought I'd try using some purple fleece. All I'm doing here is hot gluing the fleece, attaching it onto the back of the cardboard piece. Now I'm hot gluing the mouthpiece onto the gap on the puppet head. The next step is to grab a big piece of anti-pill fleece and start pinning it on the upper lip of your puppet's mouth. Once you're done with that, you can start smoothing it out on the back of your puppet's head. Any big chunks of fabric you can just cut off. Now for some sewing. Thread your sewing needle with a thread the same color as your fleece. Tie a knot at the end of the thread and go up and through the gap you made when you cut your fabric before. Then go through and up on the left side, cross over to the right side, and go through and up again. Continue this, switching between the sides and pulling tightly every once in a while. Now just continue sewing seams and cutting off extra fabric as you go. Take your time sewing and your seams will look much nicer than mine do. Once you've sewn the majority of the back of the head, you can grab another piece of fabric, pin it to the bottom lip of your puppet, and sew the seams that start in the corners of your puppet's mouth. When you're done sewing, all of the foam should be covered and your puppet's head should look something like this. You can now take all of the pins out and hot glue the fleece around the mouth onto the mouth, and the extra fleece hanging down onto the inside of the puppet. And now you can do whatever fun stuff you want to do to your puppet, like add eyes, a nose, hair, teeth, ears, or antlers. I'm using felt circles for eyes and a boa for hair for my puppet. For the body for this puppet, I used a small rectangle of foam that I hot glued to make a cylinder. I then covered the cylinder in fleece and sewed the seam the same way I sewed the seams on the head. The extra fabric I trimmed, then hot glued onto the inside of the cylinder. To attach the head to the body, you can sew it or use glue. You can also make arms out of foam and fabric and attach those. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Have fun making puppets!